Good morning, students. Students, today I am going to teach you 6th standard science. In that, a beautiful lesson, things around us. Are you ready to listen? Yes. Student, as you know that for construction of home, we need bricks. So, the bricks is a basic material. For existence of the whole living organism, which is a basic material. So, the basic material and how the living form exists, you are going to study in this lesson. Okay? As you know that in our surroundings, we can see living things and non-living things. There is a major difference in the living as well as in non-living things. Is it no? So living things show certain characters, whereas non-living things doesn't. The living things has made up of one of the smallest unit in the body. What we call that? We call it as cell. Okay. See here, the cell is a basic structural and functional unit of living organism. If you see the whole living organism, either plant or animal, they are made up of the basic substance. We call that basic substance as cell. Okay, see here in this lesson, things around us, we are going to study about cell, tissue, organ system, and some of the characteristics of living things. Okay, no? So look here. Characteristics of living things. As I have told, the smallest part of animal or the plant which is able to function independently, we call it as cell. Cell is a basic unit. Students, cell is a basic unit. For existence of the whole living organism, the basic one is a cell, which perform different functions. Okay, and they have particular shape. So all living organisms are made up of cell. Cell is a basic unit. Okay, no? Can we able to see this cell through our eyes? No. We cannot able to see the cell through our naked eyes. We need microscope. Yes, you know microscope. That is an instrument which is used to see the small objects that cannot see through our eyes. That is a microscope. This object which cannot able to see through our naked eyes, we call it as the microscopic object. By the microscope, we can able to see the substance. Okay. So, the cell can able to see with the help of microscope. What happens when number of cells are formed? When a group of cells are work together or perform function, they form the tissues. Yes, a group of cells, we call it as tissue. In our body, there are number of tissues are there. They perform number of functions. Okay. Here, several tissues are performing particular function in a organ to form an organ. You know that in our body, number of organs are present. Heart, lung, kidney, stomach, intestine, or all the organs are present in our body. So these organs are made up of tissues. The tissues are made up of cell. So from this we came to know that cell is a basic unit of living organisms. Okay, no? The cell is a basic unit, group of cells together perform particular function and have particular structure. They are called tissues. A group of tissues, we call it as organs. Yes, a group of tissues together forming the organs. What will happen when this group of organs forms such a structure? The living organism is known as cellular structure or the organ system. Here, if you see yourself, all the organs are arranged in your body systematically, is it? Yes. So, a group of organs forming a system that is called as organ system. Okay. So, according to the presence of the cell, we classify the living organisms into unicellular and multicellular. What do we mean by unicellular? Unicellular means uni, single. The organisms which are made up of single cell, only one cell. Which are those organisms? Example, amoeba and some group of bacteria. They are made up of single cell. We call such an organism as unicellular organism. Okay, we call them as unicellular organism. They are made up of only one cell. Okay, now see here, if you see the picture, the basic unit is a cell. A group of cells together constituting one structure, it is a tissue. Here, the next, if you see, an organ they have given stomach. How this form? This is formed by a group of tissues. Okay. If you move to the next organ system, all these organs are systematically arranged. Number of organs are present to form a organ system which made a whole living organism. According to this, we classified the living forms into two groups, unicellular, multicellular. Unicellular is made up of single cell, means the body is made up of only one cell. Example, amoeba children. Okay, and some group of bacteria. The next, multicellular. Do we belong to multicellular group? Yes, our body is made up of number of cells. Along with the plants, also made up of many cells. Here, plants and animals are considered as multicellular organisms where the cells are made up of more than one cell. Okay, the body which is made up of more than one cell. The body of an organism is made up of more than one cell. We call it as multicellular. Example, human being, plants, animals are example. Okay, no? See, non-living thing, doesn't possess the cellular structure. Say no. And come here. See, children. We will respond to the surroundings. All living things respond to the stimuli. How we are responding? If you touch a hot iron by mistake, or if you touch a hot vessel or a utensil, you suddenly remove your hand. This is because a response or a message it sent to the brain, and brain will indicating it is a hot material. You must remove your hand. So here our body is responding to what? Our body is responding to the stimuli. Which is that stimuli? The hot object is a stimuli. Here it was stimulating, and the response what we are showing is a response to the particular stimuli. This we can see in animals. We can give number of examples to the response to the stimuli. If you see any animal, wild animal, you will run. That is also a response to the stimuli. Is it? Come to the plants. This plant will respond? Yes. If you touch me not plant, close its leaf. It is also responding to the stimulus. Along with that, it will also respond to the light. When sunlight will fall on some plants, they bend toward the sunlight. So, plants also respond toward the light. Okay, no? So, the main thing what living organism shows is response to the stimulus or respond to stimuli. They are going to respond for the particular environment. Simple children? Yes. So living things react to change around them. We react to sudden touch, bright light, heat, cold, as well as to the sound. These are the common response we are showing to the stimulus. Is it? The response to the environmental change or the stimulus are seen only in living things. Is it no? Non-living things or dead organisms, they will not respond to any stimulus. Is it no, children? Yes. See here, as I have told that living things exhibit certain characteristics. Now, we are going to study what are the characteristics living organisms shows, or how the living organism is showing a response, or what are the features of living things. Okay, now? The first and the foremost characteristic of living organism is living things grow. You have noticed that in the plants or in animals, living things, they shows the grow. Living organism, they grow. Here, if you see in a plant, a seed, first a seed, it is developed into the sapling, means young plant. A child developed into adult. Chicken grows into hen. In the beginning, the seed, and then afterwards, growth takes place. It has developed into sapling, a young plant or a young tree. In the beginning, a child. Then when gradual changes takes place, you become an adult. chicken. Then after the growth, become hen. Yes, as living organisms or living things grow, they add on new cells and tissues. Here, number of cells were increases. That leads to increase in the tissues. Okay, no? When living things eat, they gain energy. Some of this energy is used by living organisms to grow. This is a true fact, isn't? All living organisms, they eat food. Food will help to grow. So, for the growth, we need food. That we have already discussed in the earlier lesson, isn't? This is the first characteristic of living organism. Whereas non-living things and dead organisms do not grow. They will not show the growth like the living things. Okay, come to the second character. See here, if you see the picture, a child who has shown the gradual growth and become an adult. So this is the growth takes place in human beings. Living things need food. Yes, student. Living things, they need food. Food is an essential thing, a basic thing, which is required by all living organisms. Living thing need to consume food. Why? To get energy. Energy is required for doing different activities. For reading, writing, cycling, swimming, jogging, each and everything, you need energy. That energy get from food. Along with that, if you will take food, you grow and you stay healthy. Okay. So plants, however, do not eat. Why they will not eat? You know that. Plants prepare their own food in their body. As we have learned in the first lesson, they are autotrophs. They prepare their own food by the process called photosynthesis. Yes, by the process called photosynthesis, they take the raw materials like carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll and sunlight. They start preparing the food by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, but the animals, they will not produce the food, they will consume the food. They are called as consumers, and consumers are depend on plants and the animals for their food. Consumers will consume the plants, consumers will consume the animals to get a food, to derive the nutrition. Isn't? So, autotrophs, they prepare their own food. They are plants. Consumers or the heterotrophs, they depend on plants as well as other animals for the food. Okay, now come to the non-living things. Non-living things and dead organism do not need food. They will not grow. They did not require energy. So, they did not need food. Okay, now children. So, this is the second character of living organism. They need food. Let's move to the third one. Okay. Living things breathe. This is the most important character of living organism. we will breathe. Since from birth to death, we take oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. Whereas plants, they take carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. So living things exchange the gases with the environment. As we know that plants and animals, they are exchanging the gases from the surrounding environment. Okay. Living organism need energy to carry on a series of functions. For breathing, need energy. So they need oxygen to be able to convert their food into energy. Here, if you want to get energy, the food what you will take, it should be broken down. How it will be broken down? It will be broken down with the help of, yes, oxygen. Through oxygen, the food will be broken down and you will get energy. Okay. Animals take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. We call that process as breathing. Yes, we call it as breathing. Exchange of gases also takes place in plants by the opening called stomata in the leaves. Children, you know that animals take oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide with the help of lungs. What about the plants? Plant will also take the gases with the help of stomata. Stomata means tiny opening present on the surface of the leaves. Okay. Through this, plants are also going to exchange the gases. Okay. Come to the different animals have different way of carrying out of the breathing process. Earthworm breathe through skin because earthworm have soft skin. Fish breathe with the help of gills in the oxygen present in the water. Plants breathe by absorbing oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. Likewise, different life forms will breathe in a different manner. Come to the non-living thing. Non-living thing, they will not breathe. They do not breathe. Dead organisms, they do not breathe. Once they die, they will not breathe. They stop breathing. Okay. This is the third character. Living things breathe. Fourth one. Living things excrete or living things remove the waste from the body. As we know that we involved in certain process. Digestion, respiration, circulation, and the last process is excretion or the removal of some of the waste from the body. Okay, now children, yes. Living organism perform different process like digestion, respiration. It produces different kind of waste during this process. The process of removal of waste from the body, we call it as excretion. Removal of waste from the body, we call it as excretion. Okay. This waste is allowed to remain in the body and become poison or toxic. This character is shown by living things. Whereas non-living things or dead organism, they do not excrete or they do not remove the waste from the body. This is the fourth character. Come to the fifth one. Living things move from one place to another place. Yes, living organism, they move. From one place to another place, they will move. Living organism show movement from one place to another place. This movement from one place to another place, we call it as locomotion. Moving from one place to another place, we call it as locomotion. Different organisms show different kinds of motion, like some of them they will walk, that is also a motion or the movement. They will move from one place to another place, that is a movement. Okay. Hopping is also a movement. Flying is also a movement. Crawling is also a movement. So, living organism, they move. But non-living organisms or the dead organism, they will not move until and unless any living form will make them to move. Is it? Come to the next character. Living things reproduce. Yes, students. Living organisms, they produce their own kind. This is the unique feature of the living organism. They are going to produce their own kind. How they work? The similar life form, they are going to reproduce. Okay, see here. Babies of young ones of their own kind we called as, that process is called as a reproduction. Example, human beings, they give birth baby. Cats give birth kitten. Pigeon lay eggs. Here, giving birth and laying eggs are two different forms of reproduction. Some of them, they lay eggs. Some of them, they give birth to young ones. If we come to the plant, this is about the animals. How the plants will reproduce. The plants will also reproduce. How means, as you know that plants have seeds. If you put the seeds in the soil, it's going to germinate or start growing into the sapling or the young tree or the plant. In some plants, some part of the plant like stem, it is cut and placed in the soil. They also started to grow. In some plants, the leaves will also helps to grow the whole plant. Okay. Most plants make seeds which can germinate. Yes. And grow into the plant, new plant. In some plant, a part of other than seed can grow into the new plant. Example, rose. Cutting off a rose bush or use it to grow new rose bushes. Isn't? This is the unique feature shown by living organism. Whereas non-living things, they cannot give birth. They will not reproduce. You know. Come to the last character of the living organism. Living things have lifespan. They will live for certain years. We call it as a lifespan. See here, children. Each type of living things has its own life cycle. Has its own life cycle. The change that happens in the life of animal as well as in the plants, we call it as a life cycle. Some of the changes they will take place. Living organisms follow cycle having different stage from their birth to the death. Example, they grow. First they grow. Second, they attain maturity. They will be mature. And finally, they die. The time taken to complete one life cycle, we call that one as life span. Time taken to complete the life cycle, we call it as life span. We call that one as lifespan. As we know that all living organisms, they take birth. Afterwards, they will attain a maturity. Finally, they will die. What the duration is there? We call the duration as life cycle. Here, seasonal plant grows and die within a season. Bristlecone, pine tree have life cycle which goes on for thousands of years. These are the trees, they will live for thousands of years. Okay, no? See here, if you see here, the life cycle of the frog. First, egg, then it develops into tadpole, young frog it will form, and finally adult. Adult again gives the egg. Form a tadpole, young frog will form, and then adult frog. Like this, the cycle it will be moving. That cyclic manner it was taking place. That cycle what it will takes place during the lifetime, we call it as life cycle. If you see egg, larva, then pupa, adult, butterfly. Again, it is going on continuing. This is the life cycle of butterfly as well as the frog. Children, in this lesson, you learnt about cell, tissue, organ system that constitute the cellular structure. Along with that, you learn some of the characteristics what living organism exhibit. They are living things grow. Living things need energy, need food. Living things move. Living things reproduce. Living things have lifespan. So all this you studied in this lesson. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the class. Is it? In the next class, I am going to continue the same lesson. Until then, bye-bye. Have a good day and take care.